All right, we're live here. My name is Jamie J. I'm the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance. And I am pretty, you know what? In just a little bit, when I go ahead and actually take this thing live with Shari, who is going to be instrumental in helping you stop the bottleneck in your business. You know what's pretty cool is I talk to people all over the world, literally all over the world. I think it's either my next one or two away. I'm talking with somebody from Amsterdam, and I've talked to people from all over the world. I happen to be talking to Shari, who is from my hometown, that's going to be on today, which is pretty cool. So I'm really excited. We're going to be talking about her new book. So stay tuned. We will be back, and I'll introduce Shari Lueck to you in about 38 seconds. Stay tuned. This is going to be a good one. Hello, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope. How are you? My name is Jamie J. I'm the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance, where we help stop the bottleneck in your business. However, that is not exactly why we're here today. Anything I can do to help you, I will. But we are here today to talk with Shari Lueck. And Shari Lueck, we're going to be talking about mediocrity and how rock bottom can be the catalyst for real transformation. Shari's the director and founder of Integrative Emotional Healing Facilitator and Mental Health Coach. And why can Shari help you stop the bottleneck in your business? Well, let me tell you. And you know, man, this is gonna be a great conversation today. Shari was homeless twice before the age of 19. Shari lived in a life filled with extraordinary events and unbelievable circumstances. After her first failed attempt at suicide, when she was just 18 years old, she had a dream to help ordinary people that were suffering so that nobody had to be alone. Since then, Shari has coached hundreds of people, and pre-pandemic 2020, Shari finally decided to hang up her hat as an executive in corporate America and dedicated her life to fulfilling her dreams. She is the founder of Bridges to Bravery, love that name, and is committed to helping women and men reignite their creative spark so they can turn their unmet and dormant dreams into real life. Shari has 5 grown children, a playful Australian shepherd, and lives life beyond her wildest dreams with her beloved husband. And so without any further ado, please allow me to introduce you to Shari Lueck.
Hi.
How are you?
I am better now. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for letting me come on and play with the bottlenecks.
Yeah, this is, you know what, this is going to be a lot of fun. And I am super excited. You've had, can we say challenging past? Is that
it hasn't been boring.
Well, we share some things in common. I've been homeless myself 3 times, twice as a little kid or a teenager, and then once as an adult. It is not fun. Oh my gosh, for someone to come out of an environment like that to do anything, I think is pretty amazing. And then your story. I really want to hear who Shari Lueck is, a little bit of your background, and then I want to talk about how this rock bottom can literally be the catalyst to becoming, you know, living your biggest dreams.
Yeah, sure. It's so much easier for me to talk about somebody else than it is to talk about myself. And, you know, in today's world where, I mean, we are just inundated between social media and all the woo-woo gurus, right? Everybody wants to be a supernatural somebody. And so when it comes to talking about myself, I often get a little nervous. And so
Well,
I'm really
you may construe as what you may construe as ordinary, so many people are going to find extraordinary. And so that's why if you can just lay it out there, share your experiences with us, we're going to have a blast.
So, I mean, we don't, how do you put really, I mean, 55 years into a little box, right? And when I was writing the book, I was really trying to make sure that I shared the experiences that I thought would make other people not feel alone, and that would make them realize that, you know what, there's hope, and there are some really simple things we can do. Because as my good friend says, I've cheated death more times than a cat has lives. And it's so true, because I mean, I was exposed to a lot of abuse as a child. Never felt like I belonged or fit in, and went on to find out basically right after graduating high school that the house where I lived with my mom and my sister had been sold. And I got a phone call telling me that I had 2 weeks to find someplace to live. They were moving in with my mom's boyfriend, and, you know, I wasn't. So my first homeless case really had nothing to do with me. You know, people, I often talk about, you know, are you in a situation by choice or by circumstance? That one was totally by circumstance. But, you know, at 17, who doesn't kind of think, hey, this will be kind of cool, I'll be on my own? Was not cool at all. And, you know, really, I struggled along like a lot of other people do throughout life. And my God, I mean, I've had so many crazy things happen. I don't want to start crying.
You know what? Talking about our past and uncovering that, especially going through what we're going through right now with all the people that are having challenges. You know what? People need to hear this stuff. And I want to quickly interrupt you just for a second, because we are live. So if you have questions or comments for Shari, please ask away, because I'd love to have Shari share some of her experiences with you, and then maybe kind of help you through any challenges. So if you have challenges you're experiencing right now, or you're just looking for a little bit of fresh air, please ask away. And if you're catching this in a recording, ask away. I will make sure to forward everything to Shari so that she can help you out.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to do that. And actually, part of what's really unique about the way I coach, and I've been coaching for years and years and years, but one of the things that's super unique is I developed a really simple 3-step process. It's the ARC, or the ARC, kind of like the arc on a bridge, right? Process where in 3 easy steps, you can go through wherever you are in your life, and you can quickly turn around the emotions that you're feeling with it, and you can get yourself on a path to healing. And you don't have to drudge through the past to come forward and really create a life by design that you enjoy. And, you know, I think—
Can I ask you to clarify something?
Sure.
When you say life by design, by the way, oh, and let me put this on here. Ashley Duell says, your strength is inspiring, Shari. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, thanks for
chiming in.
Yeah.
But when you say creating a life by design, can you define that for us?
Mm-hmm. So like I said about whether by choice or by circumstance, we all have choices that we get to make, and every choice leads to another one. But we're not defined by the things that we've done, and we're not defined by the things that have happened to us. And so we don't have to get drawn through the muck and the yuck that follows us along our lives from what's happened. And at any given point, you can decide to do a spin around and change the direction. And it might not happen instantly, but I promise that it will happen. And when I say life by design, I started to go down a rabbit hole with my thoughts.
And I did want to say Stacy Stockford jumped in. Hi, Stacy. She says, I seriously needed, all caps, to hear a story like this.
So I'll tell you, I've lost it all. I've been bankrupt. My kids were in a mass shooting. It was a hate crime. And that was really what I was the first civilian on scene. It was the day of my son's 5th birthday. Nobody in my family died, but it affected all of us traumatically. And my son is now 26. He was 5 that day. And let me tell you, both my daughter, my oldest and my middle, were there on scene. And they have both had a lot of trauma as a result. But that sort of that sort of set me on my downward spiral at the time, that led me to really addiction and all kinds of loss of dignity. And I was wrongly fired from a job. They offered to pay me $10,000 a month for a year just to go away, but they fired me. And, you know, had we known what we knew then, right, I'd probably be kind of rich today. I would have sued their pants off. But I was in such shock and horror from the PTSD from the shooting that I was just happy I'd be able to keep my house and pay my bills. And I didn't really think about it, you know? And the next thing I knew, I was in an abusive relationship. I had got my marriage to my husband completely deteriorated. And I know it's live, so I'll use some explicitives. Mother effing, the worst C word you can think of, was how he referred to me for years. And we've been divorced for almost 20 years, and he still calls me that name. Not a nice man. And because I didn't do the healing I needed, though, to get away from the narcissistic people, you know, we attract the love we think we deserve. And so I found myself in another dangerous relationship. And this time I ended up having my jaw broken and a few other things. And it was a very violent, horrible situation. And before that, everybody really, I mean, if you looked at my life, you thought I was June Cleaver on steroids, man. I mean, I had a high-powered job, and I sat on a board of directors for a community school, and I was a Girl Scout and a Cub Scout leader. And every Sunday after Sunday school, everybody would come to my house, and I'd make breakfast for anybody who showed up. I still will, by the way, if you guys can find me, right? Show up at my door, I'll feed you.
There we go.
So, oh, you're close enough, Jamie. You should come on over. So, so that really was, and I started doing drugs. And, you know, I survived all of the 80s, going to the Playboy Mansion. I was one of those LA girls, you know, and never stuffed through the 80s, never put cocaine up my nose. And because I had seen a basketball player, Lenny Bias, and I don't remember things, but I remember this still to this day. He died after one time he did a line of cocaine up his nose. And I thought, oh, I don't want to do that. Well, for some reason, I thought it was a really good idea after all of this had happened to put some up my nose. And for the first time in my life, I felt normal. And I am not telling anybody, if you don't feel well, to do drugs, okay? Nobody thinks the first time they take a drug that oh, geez, this is a great idea. It's really going to screw up my life and I'm going to become an addict. Doesn't that sound fun? Don't do it. And I became addicted to meth. And I was really lucky. There I was lying, being choked with one hand and the back of a hammer being held over my head with the other, knowing I was going to die after my violent ex had broken into my house and pulled me out of the shower. And I was ready to die. I was really ready, and I was blacking out. And I thought, well, at least I won't feel the hammer hit my head. And remarkably enough, my daughter opened the door. We heard the keys and opened the door, and he ran off the balcony and ran away, and I survived. And that was really a wake-up call, Jamie. I knew life couldn't go on this way. I knew this wasn't what I wanted. And I knew that my children needed me.
Was that your rock bottom right there?
Which one?
Well, because you had several, but at some point you had to turn around to the amazing person that you are today.
That was it. one of the things I actually say in my book, and I actually say that it was, you know, I can't find it now, but I actually say something to the effect in my book that it really was the catalyst for this rock bottom. And I fast forwarded, 35 years of other drama, but this was really the rock bottom where I said something's got to give and I'm going to change. And oddly enough, I had seen or heard something about a book called A Million Little Pieces or A Million Tiny Pieces, and James Frey had written it. And in it, he had claimed to have gotten off of meth by himself and gotten sober. And I thought, you know what? If this guy can do it, I can do it. I can do anything. And I had my kids go to their dad's for 5 days, and I thought I was dying. I mean, I'm imagining, and if anybody's listening and they have COVID or they know somebody who has COVID, I'm imagining that the withdrawals that I felt were much like how this disease has been explained to me. It's like the worst flu I ever could have imagined. And, people get help I wish I would have known to get help a different way. It would have been much safer and much better. But I was so full of shame that this, perfect mom had this disgusting problem. And I didn't want anybody to know. And I thought, if I go to a recovery place like NA or AA, people will recognize me. Now, our brains don't work the right way, right? Because obviously if they were there, I'd recognize them too, and it would have been fine.
Right.
And so I think about it today and I think, oh my gosh, that was how silly is that? Go get help, But I was in the middle class yuppie neighborhood, and, the internet was just becoming a big thing, and it was just I didn't have the resources. And so I got clean myself.
So I'm trying to, I'm easily listening. I'm 100% zoned into this, but I'm trying to unpack some of it as well, because obviously through your experience, you would not have the foundation in which you now have to maybe help others, but identify certain challenges. And there's a way to help people if you've gone through the experience to where, hey, I've shared a similar feeling. I've been in those shoes. I've walked in those shoes, versus somebody that's saying, this is how I think I would feel. No, you've been there. Right. And I think there's a difference when you're helping somebody cope with a certain situation that they're in. It's hard to be able to help somebody unless you've kind of been through that. And I think especially, this is just what I'm kind of unpacking myself right now as I'm listening. Like, first of all, holy crap. Like, I'm so like
this much.
I'm so proud that you did what you did. And I don't say that in a demeaning way or anything. I'm just elated that you were able to overcome so much and to be in a position to where I'm sure writing the book was very therapeutic for yourself as well, but getting that out and just having the vulnerability to just say, this is me. I screwed up. You know what? But I lived, I learned, and this beautiful life, you can do this too.
So first of all, I want you to know I'm really receiving your pride. For many, many, many years, I could give love, but I couldn't receive it. And bring it on, baby, shower, because you have to learn when you've been in a tough situation. You have to learn how to receive love, and you have to be okay with it. And it's actually something I work with people on, and setting boundaries. And because when you've been in the heck with the physical abuse, okay, emotional, I would take the physical over the emotional abuse any day. And when you've been gaslit and you've been, oh my gosh, just the whole, I already didn't think I was good enough. Right. And by choosing one partner after another, I mean, my mom makes a joke, and it's kind of funny, but not really, is, Shari, you kept finding the same man with a different face.
Oh.
Right? And I did. And they fooled me. And I wanted to be loved so badly. And I wanted to be wanted so badly that I ignored the warning signs. Right. And, we're always in the process, and interrupt me if I am not answering your question, or if somebody has a question. Literally, there is nothing I haven't seen or been through. I haven't found anything yet. How to receive healthy love. Oh my gosh, Stacy. So
you said something in there. I will ask a question. I know you're about ready to go into the story, but this is key. You said you didn't see the warning signs. In all actuality, you saw the warning signs, but you didn't pay attention. What clicked? What finally went off saying, you know what? I am identifying this. Not only am I identifying it, I'm doing something about it.
We don't have enough time for that one.
Oh boy. So it was a process.
Because if it was that easy, none of us would be stuck in these horrible situations.
Well, okay? Yeah, I agree with that. But I also remember I was homeless before. I had those challenges. I slept with my rucksack in the weeds. I begged for a burger at McDonald's. I mean, I've been there. I did. And there was one thing in my memory. And I remember it was calling my friend and asking him for a ride. And that was the worst dig of my pride that I had. It was that moment where I finally realized it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. So it took me a lot longer to be able to ask for help. I'm still challenged with it. Okay. So if you offer it, I'll take it. I'm a lot more challenged asking for it today. And as a matter of fact, it's one of the things that my husband and I start the day off, and he still kind of teases me, but, I started about 4 or 5 years ago. I would say to him, what can I do to make your day better for you today? Is there something I can do for you? And that was really a genuine way of giving him space to ask me for help for something without having to ask, because it's hard for all of us to ask for help. It does not come easy. Okay. And what I was going to say before, and you're going to understand this so much, Jamie, is shame can only grow in the dark. It's like mushrooms, right? It's like a fungus. Okay. So shame can only grow in the dark. And when we recognize that our shame is nothing but our story of medicine. Like, my story is my medicine. Okay. And as I give it to you, we all heal. Okay. Sure. And so that cloak of shame, I often describe it as a cloak. And, it starts when we're young. Before we're 10 years old, we get this cloak of shame, and little by little, we add to it. Maybe you've heard of the frog, the boiling frog, who, he just sits in the pot of water till he's dead because it happens slowly, right? That's the shame that comes on, right? And until I could start to cut the threads and unravel it and take that weight off of me, I was held back and I was stuck. And so one of the things that I learned through my transformation, and my transformation was remarkable. You asked me what happened, and I said, well, it was really one weekend, and I had done a lot of different things. I've been to therapy. I've read every self-help book. I've tried coaching. I might as well have thrown money out the window for years, money I didn't have. And I get very emotional about it. And my best friend said to me, you know what, Shari, you're such an amazing person, but you're still struggling with this, not feeling good enough. And, you've achieved so much. I mean, I've broken more glass ceilings and shattered more stigmas than most people can even say. Okay. And I'm always in the art of being and becoming, right? I'm always in this transition, but we all are. And she said, I've been going to this coaching place and in one weekend, it might just help. And I said no for a year because I didn't want any of this woo-woo crap. Okay. I was like, No more of this BS. Okay. Everybody's a savior. Okay. I didn't need a Benny Hinn moment. I was like, no, I'm fine. And finally, I just, it's like you said, was that your rock bottom? Well, there was something in me that I just knew I wanted more and I would try anything. And so I went in with a really open mind and an open heart. And I did things that weekend that nobody else had done. My girlfriend had been going for 15 years, and she said, nobody's ever had a transformation like I did that weekend. And they all thought I was lying. But what I did was actually what I created. My ARC methodology is exactly how I had that transformation and how I've continued to transform over the years. That was a little more than 8 years ago. And I knew that I would never be the same person again. Ever, ever, ever again. And that my unmet dreams were because I had let somebody else define my story.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty powerful. Stacy says, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Stacy's my people.
Yeah, this is pretty powerful conversations. You know what it is too, I think. And you're right. It might be hard to define a rock bottom, because there are maybe several. For me, a couple times, I think I got dragged across the bottom a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I've bounced through potholes.
But there's also some things, too, that I can think back on and say, wow, And I think, you know what, Shari, in talking with you seem like such a sweetheart and so nice. And, oh, my gosh, you can tell it. You just see the light in there. It looks warm. It looks inviting in your background. And you just see you're smiling. And I get this sense that, man, everything is awesome. It's good. This is a great time. And you're enjoying. But I don't think you could have got there without going through what you're going. And for me, and again, I want to take responsibility for what I'm saying here. So for me, I think that's why to this day, I have a sense of humility that is maybe more so than people that may have not experienced such challenges. And my wife says, oh, Jamie, that's first world problem. Like, the cable's out again. Dang it. Like we missed our show. First world problem. Like take it all in stride.
But just because, so one of the things that I'm really, really careful about is I don't want people to read my book or hear my story or know me and say, oh gosh, my problem's nothing compared to what you went through. Okay. Your horrible is your horrible and you get to have it.
I love that. I love that.
Okay. You get to have it. And God damn it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Let her rip.
I have a potty mouth and I mean, you could mistake me for a truck driver on any given Sunday. So I'm learning to be a little softer, but
you.
But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing is not everything happens for a reason, and stop telling people it does, okay? And not everything has a lesson, okay? Sometimes bad, shitty things happen, and there's no reason and there's no lesson, and they just plain old suck. And when you stop shaming people and making people feel bad for hurting, right? You give them a chance to feel what it's like to be okay.
Amen. That's awesome.
And we're all struggling. I mean, my God, we are in collective grief here. This is, when I learned that grief didn't have to do with death, that was like a whole new level of aha for me. My whole life, I thought, oh, people grieve when somebody dies. No, grief is when life changes for any way it was a moment before. Okay. None of our lives today look the same as they did 7 months ago, 8 months ago, 9 months ago. Forget a year ago. I was getting ready to go on a cruise a year ago. What I wouldn't do to hear the captain say, this is your captain speaking, but there's no way in hell I'm getting on a cruise. But I'm already stuck out to sea in my own mind. I don't need to get stuck out to sea in my own mind either. Okay? Forget it. I mean, I can go to outer space any day I want. But, the other thing that I'm thinking about is one of the words that we hear a lot now are people being real judgy about, oh, you've got to be in your flow and there's a lot of woo out there. Okay. And if it works for you, that's great. there's a certain amount of woo that I think is kind of fun for everybody, but I'm more of a neuroscience-based realist, but I get the metaphysical stuff a lot, and I'm really intuitive. And I don't see dead people, and I don't see your colors, and I don't do any of that, but I connect to people. And if I can't connect to you, it's probably because there's something icky about you. And I've learned to listen to my intuition. And one of the things that I share often is, as a child, most of us learned that our intuition shouldn't be listened to. Our parents were telling us how we should feel and what's right and what's wrong, and don't cry unless you're bleeding. And I mean, how many times did I hear that, you know? And I'll give you something to cry about. I mean, okay, so we learned to turn off our intuition, and I learned to turn mine off. And when I turn it, thank you, Kyle. And when I turned mine back on and I started to tap into it, miracles really started to happen.
Yeah.
Miracles really started to happen. And, you know, in the coaching world, there's oh my God. Last night I decided I was going to write a book called So You Think You Want to Be a Coach. Who the hell do you think you are? Right? And my husband,
you want to be a coach.
my husband was laughing. He was, oh my God, Shari, it's brilliant. Because, you know, I mean, I can think of one person in particular who just is a kind of all over, I think it's LinkedIn, bragging about her rock bottom at 27 years old and how now she's going to coach all these people. And, you know, you can have your rock bottom at 20. I wish that I would have recognized my rock bottom, and I've been trying to elevate my kids for a long time. Raise your rock bottom up here so you don't have to suffer like me, and everything will be good. And you can raise it by awareness, okay? Mm-hmm. But the point is, you don't just get to be a coach. Just because you've had experiences doesn't make you a good coach. I went and I got my NLP practitioner's certification, and I went and got my master life coach certification. And sure, I have 27 years of shattering the glass ceiling. I found out, here's a story for you. My ADD brain going, okay, got it?
I got it.
Well, we can go back anytime you want, because I'll remember where I was. So, but this is a great one. I'm just thinking about, you know, crazy stories. So I was talking about intuition. And when I was little, I did not think that my dad was my dad. Okay. And I say little, I started feeling that way at 4 or 5. And one day we were sitting around my mom's table, Thanksgiving table. So it's this time of year, and a lifetime ago. And somehow somebody said something about when my parents had gotten married. And, you know, at that age, you're doing all the math and you're trying to figure out things. And so I count 9 months backwards and I go, oh my God, you were pregnant before you had me. Okay. Like the sky was falling, right? All of a sudden I was Chicken Little, and nothing was off limits at our kitchen table. I mean, we had still tell scatological jokes. I mean, we had an open household. Okay. But I was like, oh my God, you were just, and you know, you got pregnant. And I said, I knew it. You're not my dad. And I got more than a few spankings over that. And it became a real big deal for me because I always felt like he wasn't my dad. And this was my intuition speaking. Okay. Mm. And I knew it at an early age. Well, I got really hyper-focused on the fact that I know I'm right and he's not my dad. Okay. And this is 9 years old. So they sent me to a psychologist, sorry. His name was Dr. Plotkin. He's in my book. And after going to him for a few months, he said, I'd like to invite your parents in. I don't think you need to see me anymore. And I said, okay, well, are you going to tell them everything I said? No. And sorry, I was reading what Stacy.
Yeah, Stacy says, I always say,
I want to talk about grief.
Yeah.
I want to talk about grief because grief is loss. It really has nothing to do with dying. Right. And I mean, when we actually grieve correctly and we learn how to go through that process, we get a whole new sense of, we get new shoes. Okay. And we can bounce like when we were little and we could run and jump really high. Mm-hmm. With life's grief and our own forgiveness of our own loss and our own disappointments and things we created, gives a whole new sense of freedom. And long story short, psychiatrist told my dad and my mom that the problem was them, not me, and that I was just highly intelligent. You know, he did a test. I'm not going to share my IQ. I never used it in my full potential anyway. So, so I was gifted. That's what they called us back then. And right after my 50th birthday, my mom sat down with me and she says, I've got to tell you something. I went, what? And she goes, no, she goes, she's like this. She goes, I wanted to tell you all weekend. And she's looking around and looking away. And she goes, I just didn't know what to say. And I go, are you dying? Like, I thought for sure she was going to tell me like she has cancer.
Yeah.
You know, she's stage 4, you know, pancreatic cancer, and she's got 3 weeks to live. And my younger sister had just died 4 months before my mom shared this story with me. And so I go, who's dying? And a few F words are coming out of my mouth. And just get to the point. What are you waiting for, lady? Like, you've never minced words, you know? And she says, well, there's a 50-50 chance your dad's not your dad. Mother. I was that. I mean, I still freak out over it. Okay. And I go, God damn it. I knew that. I always knew. I go, who knew? She goes, well, your dad. What? You guys are a psychiatrist? Hello, is anybody in there? What is wrong with you people?
Wow.
I mean, really. So talk about learning to turn your intuition off. I knew. So he's not my dad.
Well, I would love to dive into this more out of respect for your time. We're coming up on the end of the half hour. Maybe we can do a part 2 if you ever want to. I would love to. I'd love to learn more. And yeah, I guess I learned to love too. Come to think of it. Yeah. See? So how do people get in touch with you? How do they get your book so that they can experience Shari Lueck?
So yeah, so my book, it's kind of fun. So it just came in the mail yesterday. Anybody who follows me on social media saw me in my kitchen with looking like I had a squirrel in my hair. Look, I got a book. It's a real book. Anyhow, so it was really exciting.
My skeleton has names.
My skeletons have names, and they are all emotions. Your skeletons do too. And I share the stories, and I share how I overcame each one of them. And I give tips for anybody reading it to do the same. They can also obviously contact me on any social media platform, and they can go to my website, and I have I give away information. I have training and tools, and I have a Facebook community group that's very private and very secure. It's called Bridges to Bravery. And right now on Amazon, if you buy the Kindle version, it's just 99 cents. And people say, why are you doing that, Shari? What's wrong with you? And I go, no. I didn't write this book for me. I wrote this book to help as many people as I can. So as the launch right now, grab it for the 99 cents, right? Grab the paper book. I think I put it at like $12.95 or something. And I'm already writing my second one. But connect with me. I'm happy to give information. I'm happy to give people free help. Yeah, I work with people and people pay me, which is great. but the point is, you know, I was alone for a long time and I was lost. And this is my giving my life a meaning, and I want to.
Yeah, well, I thank you for that. And thank you for giving somebody the opportunity to have a rope to grab onto. I want to say thanks to Ashley. She says, you're amazing, Shari. She looks forward to reading your book. And Stacy, thank you for all of your feedback and input. Very powerful. She says, thank you, Shari.
Connect with me. I'd love to know you guys better.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So you can go to sharilueck.com. If you want to get the book, you can go to, it's right on our website. You just click on the menu item that says book, but you can go to sharilueck.com/book.
Let's go to Amazon.
Go to Amazon. There you go. Yeah, go to Amazon. Type it in there. And if you know of anybody else that could benefit from this, share it away. That'd be great. we can support Shari, but most importantly, we can support each of us that are going through some challenges. So Shari, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap?
I love you.
Aw, you're amazing. You're amazing.
I'm so excited that you're my neighbor and that I want to get to know you.
Yeah, this is so fantastic. It really is. I just want to say thank you. Can you hold on just really quick while I wrap up then?
Yeah.
Then I just want to say thank you to everybody that's joined us today. And for those of you that did not see this live and you're seeing it on the replay and Shari just hit a heartstring or did something, go buy her book. Again, you can go to her website. You can go to Amazon, but it's at sharilueck.com, and it's SHARILUECK.com/book. You can just click on that page where it says book and get it from there. But I'm going to see if I can talk Shari into coming back. Maybe we can do another session here in a follow-up session. And I just want to say thank you so much. Remember, please remember, create your own ripple. My name is Jamie J, CEO of Bottleneck Distant Assistance, and I'm glad Shari was here today to help stop the bottleneck in your business. We'll talk to you again soon.